Hey y'all, welcome to the Liberation is Lit podcast where the power of storytelling meets the force of social change. I'm your host, Taylor Simon, and in this podcast, we believe in the profound impact of stories. And I am super stoked to be here with my good friend, Brandy Del Rio, and we're going to talk about poetry and being subversive with our art. And we're recording this the day after the Super Bowl with Kendrick Lamar's performance. So that may bleed into our conversation. We just had a whole discussion before recording of this. But hey, Brandy, welcome.
Hey, Taylor. What's up? No, I'm still hype. I was still
Yeah.
hype about that Super Bowl, like halftime performance. But yeah, yes.
Yes. So to kick us off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself as a writer and what inspires you to write poetry?
Okay, so let's see. I am very proudly a poet, author, because I do write short stories, but I did recently release a collection of poetry entitled I Thought We Were Post Me Too. I keep looking over here, but here's the book. And like, I thought we were post Me Too because clearly we haven't really learned a lot from the first movement, but it's okay. It comes in waves. It's okay. And we're here.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your process of putting together the book, which you can get from liberationislit.com? I will post the link in the show description if you want to get the book. But can you tell us a little bit about your approach to selecting the poems for the collection? Were there any themes or messages that you especially aim to convey? I mean, aside from thinking we were post Me Too.
Yeah. I say that, well, I entitled it the book that because I mean, clearly we're still learning from it, but we haven't learned all of the things that we need to, especially how many waves of feminism have we gone through? Like it's ridiculous. But anyway, and we have, you know, a mock fascist the at control of the reign, so to speak. But I mean that stinks, but whatever. So choosing the poems for this, it actually goes way back. Some of these poems I probably wrote maybe 10 years ago. But, after I guess reading so many books of poetry and at the end of the day, like, editing is my best friend. And sometimes it stinks. It sucks when you have to cut certain lines out, but editing is your best friend, especially when you're as long-winded as I am. I write very epic poetry. It's fairly long, but it normally does serve a purpose and it delivers a message. Most of my poetry does center on themes of Latin history, just being a person growing up, the daughter of an immigrant. My father was from Mexico. I speak a lot of Spanish. ¿Qué tal? What's up? I'm so proud of that Latin back history, and I'm just so proud of all of that stuff. And most of the poetry that I do write is it's nonfiction in that it is based on my experiences as a person, but for the most part, they do tell a story of where it come from and why it attempts to explain why we do certain things. So I recently filmed a delivery of the poem entitled you know, Growing Up the Daughter of an Immigrant. And in that one, it touches on my history, my father, who is now deceased, but also it goes beyond that in that we talk about like Latin history as in, I'm Mexican American, but we're from mestizo, the mestizo race. We came from quote unquote La Malinche. And that's really important to me to touch on that because she's such a, I guess, controversial figure in American history. In Mexican history, her name was Doña Marina, but she has a long history. She could be looked at as a person who gave up the entire Mexican race. Like she just gave up her people for a spot next to Hernan Cortes, who is colonizer. But I mean, what can we do? So I touched on a lot of different topics, but for the most part, it's all to tell a story.
I really appreciate you talking about like going back to the roots of a controversial woman because I feel like in all cultures, it's always the woman's fault for doing something. And I feel like that ties into the story of I thought we were post Me Too of women being the villains and trying to be out here ruining men's lives. And I feel like just too in the culture of around sexual assault, especially with communities of color, it's all about putting our people before ourselves, even though our people didn't protect us, but we're still expected to protect them in return. And I feel like that all like goes together. And aside from editing, can you talk about any challenges you might have faced while compiling the collection and how you overcame them?
Haha. Yeah. So I actually lost my first manuscript for this book. And I thank God I had like a bunch of stuff. By a bunch, I mean like lots of poems backed up to a flash drive that I had for many years. I just went back and tweaked a lot of those and had to do that. So technical difficulties were a bit of an issue with this one. But for I yeah, I came back. I mean, when you have something to say, you kind of you can rein it back in and like figure out how to work around the problems, especially with this book, the various topics that I do touch on, they're so important to me. There's like everything that I'm talking about is so important to me and all the stories that I'm telling, whether, they be like historical or just like themes of xenophobia, all of the things. If they're important to you, you will find a way. So I certainly saw that manifest itself when I was writing this one.
And I feel like what you said earlier about how you tell a story and how your poetry collection is very much you. And that's what I really love about poetry in general is that it's a very personalized experience, but how when people read and engage with it, it's a very universal experience. So I love that you talk about how culture plays a role in this conversation, and so I would love to ask, how do you use your voice and your poetry and your writing in general as a way of protest during these especially difficult times?
Yes. Big exhale just because it's a very trying period. It stinks because like you have to survive. And there are two voices specifically that I'm thinking of that are constantly like, oh, you have to survive. You have to survive. Like it doesn't matter. It's okay. Just yesterday, I was listening to this. It was a podcast. No, not a podcast. It was some recording, and it was telling me basically to shut the fuck up. When you get impassioned, shut the fuck up. But no, when you get impassioned about something and you have something to talk about and speak up for, that's when you have to mobilize and put, more emphasis on your voice, on what you're saying, your message, and try to just be heard. I have recently with this book started reading some of the poems, but like reading them and recording the videos and putting them on my social media, my Instagram. And because I don't, yeah, I'm done with Facebook. But Instagram definitely, even though it's still meta, darn it, we can't escape them. But like, when you have something to say, like, shoot, say it, but say it with like with your chest, so to speak. Say it with your chest and say it loud. It took too long for me to grow up and feel comfortable with the voice that I have. And I have a big mouth, admittedly so. But at the same time, I'm not just going to hear something and say, okay, that's right. Like, like that person, oh, Brandy's got a big mouth and we should kill her. Like, no, like I'm going to fight for my, life. At the end of it, there's so many things that we have to fight for. And whether it be political, culturally, like, so many things are happening historically, like socially, and it hurts at a certain point, but you still gotta keep on doing it. Like I I keep exhaling so heavily, but it's part of my therapy in that this is how I deal through breath, through breathing, through just exhaling all the shit that's thrown at me. I don't accept shit. So like why am I why would I keep on just accepting this shit on a silver platter? Like no, I'm not going to do that. We keep speaking and we keep fighting for the things that are necessary. Like just the other day, I was having to lecture. Well, not lecture. It's more like tenderly delivering a message to my niece about how she's Mexican American, despite what her because she's biracial. My brother is very whitewashed Mexican, but it's okay. Yeah, that's part of him and that person that he's become. But also he went through the military and like they're not exactly accepting of all colors. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. I can't, I'm not an authority on this subject. He had kids with a white woman. Well, I mean, I got two beautiful little kids, out of the deal. But I had to pretty much tell her, "Hey, Ava, you're Mexican American, but you're still Mexican, right? You might not be from the Mexico, but you are very proudly Mexican American." We just had to have the talk. And I will keep reminding that little kid, even if she keeps fighting, because she's got that gum, she's got the fighting gene. I mean, but that's the thing. We have to teach the next generation, the generations that are coming up behind us, the ones that we care about. Teach them about the stuff that is actively being, just written out of the history books. Like those things. It is so important to keep those stories alive.
Definitely agree. And it's interesting that when you talk about "You Gotta Survive," how the video or the recording that you watched or listened to was saying survival is through silence and how you believe survival is through speaking up and sharing stories. And I think that is so important to distinguish because a lot of, especially people of color, they want to believe that our survival is rooted in our silence, and it's the opposite. And I think it was Ornell Hurston who says, like, "You have to speak up or they'll kill you and say you liked it." And so I definitely want to ask what advice that you have for listeners that may be of the next generation, that may be just getting empowered to use their voice with other generations, older generations. How would you advise them to make an impact in their communities?
Go out, get involved in anything that's available to you. Don't be that person that's just sitting back and turning to the message boards and leaving stuff there. Like, no, that's not how things get done. And if you're a woman, even more so, because historically, women have always been the backbones of social movements. It's well, I'm not an authority, but I know with the African American leagues, legions, whatever you want to call them, it was women. It was women who were organizing and behind the scenes, and maybe men were put on the pulpits because they had a strong, quote unquote, a stronger voice. They had more power in whatever it might be. Yeah, it's the same thing with the Chicano movement with my Mexican American brethren, that came before me. Yeah, yeah, Cesar Chavez was wonderful. He was a great guy, but you know what? There were so many women behind him who pushed him up. They're always going to be there, and they're always gonna be helping, or whether it be boxing lunches or writing out the manifestos. It doesn't matter what you're doing, at least you're doing something for the movement. And if you're passionate about it, keep doing it. Keep doing it because it's pushing the people that you care for to the front of the line where you would like to be, and it doesn't mean that you're being left out. It means that you're helping someone else. Helping is so important for especially people of color. Everybody's got to keep put their hand in the cookie jar and be part of it. It doesn't happen with one single person. It's so important to just go out and be part of something bigger than you, and be okay with being just a small part, because we're not all supposed to be giants. Some of us have to be the little ants in the piles who are helping with other things. But that's okay. You're still part of the fucking movement, you know?
Yes, we all are part of the movement. And well, even if we're little ants, when we get together, we become giants. So, exactly. Thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. Where can people find you and find those poetry pieces that you recorded?
Yeah. So once again, this is my book. I thought we were posting to. You can find it wherever you get your literature, your poetry, books, whatnot. My name is Brandy Del Rio, and I am a proud Latina woman. Just I'm here. I have an Instagram account. It's called at BDR Rights. And you can also find me at my website. That's called www.bdrrights.com. And that's me. That's where you can find everything that I'm doing. I have some events coming up. I have some signings, and I'm still going to be writing. It doesn't matter because we still have a lot of work to do.
Right. And when they take away our platforms, we just build our own.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much again, Brandy, for being on the podcast. And if any listeners have any stories that they want to share, want to suggest any topics, or just want to connect with us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Unfortunately, all the meta sites at Liberation is Lit or our website, liberationislit.com. And if you enjoyed the episode, please consider leaving a review. And remember, your voice matters. And together, through the lens of stories, we're going to make a difference in the world. Until next time.
Bye, guys.